Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to CFS 2018. I am your host, Matt Andrews, and we are live to you from the Nanjing Youth Olympic Games Sports Park in China. 16 teams joined us from 11 regions around the world, and after 3 days of incredible action, just 2 teams remain. They are 1 match away from winning the CFS 2018 CROSSFIRE Championship and proving that they are the best team in the world. Together, here in Nanjing and with you, we will witness this incredible moment to go down in history. For the CFS 2018 World Championship Grand Final, please welcome Black Dragons and ruLegends!
Forward, gets rid of Jerry, looks for 2. He's in such a fantastic position. Okay, the one-shot headshot, more than enough. Pistol out now. Oh! Oh, they're going to line up for ammo, and it's ruLegends through. Dalabao Q, however, is looking at, hasn't realized there's another player to his left side, and Black Dragon can shut it all down. He's doing a lot better. Elegant finally picking up a Q. Corner swings wide to take the battle, and he will shut it. STK starts it off well. Trade comes in. He finds the first, though. What a headshot.
Please welcome onto our stage the players of Black Dragons and ruLegends! The first player is ADRF from Black Dragons, and he is known for being first into battle. Our next player, Notzin, famous for his great map awareness. The captain of Black Dragons, Vienna. As the leader of the team, his performance is decisive. The 4th member of Black Dragons is Will. He charges in and often frightens his opponents. And their 5th member, that is Danimal. He is always ready to clutch, and together they are Brazil's Black Dragons! And now their opposition from Russia are ruLegends. Their first player is Drace, a young player with excellent tactics in support. Their second member of the team is Exiwa. He is a player that opponents should be afraid of. This man is Treek. Now he is the captain of ruLegends, and he is the best sniper in all of Russia. The fourth member of the team is Stray. He's the newest member of the team, and he has taken ruLegends to the next level. And the last member of the team is Vase. And with his clutches, you should never underestimate him. A great war is ready to break out. Two teams to be the CFS 2018 CROSSFIRE World Champion. Our commentators are ready. Black Dragons are ready. ruLegends are ready. Here it comes. Legends to be made right now. The CFS 2018 CROSSFIRE World Championship.
Eu me sinto muito feliz e a gente treinou muito para chegar nesse momento.
Я чувствую себя очень хорошо, потому что мы почти достигли своей цели. Наша цель выиграть этот чемпионат.
Black Dragons приехали на этот турнир в очень хорошей форме, e они доказывают это.
Nós treinamos com o time da Rússia. Durante o nosso bootcamp nós treinamos contra eles e eles são um time muito forte, mas nós acreditamos que podemos vencer.
Это очень sильная команда, у них очень хороший тимплей, они играют как 5 пальцев одной руки.
Eu só queria dizer que eles vão ter que se preparar muito, porque vai ser o jogo mais difícil da vida deles.
Я хочу сказать, что им не будет просто. Мы покажем лучшую свою игру.
Eu gostaria de dizer para eles que, primeiramente, meus parabéns por também ter chegado na final. Eu acho que é uma conquista também para eles. E dizer que eles joguem com o coração, que dê o seu melhor, porque eu tenho certeza que a minha equipe vai dar o melhor.
Мы никогда не сдаемся и боремся до конца.
Vocês eliminaram o time brasileiro, os nossos amigos da NTZ, e agora vocês vão ter que se enfrentar com o dragão brasileiro, que é a gente. A gente vai vencer vocês na final. O BD.
Мы победим!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Nanjing in China. What an epic opening ceremony for what will be an incredible best of 5 as we make history here at CFS 2018. Two non-Chinese teams competing to be the champions of the world. And gentlemen, it seems ever so important to them, as it very much should be.
It definitely is a historic match on the line. Both teams wanting to be that new region on top in CROSSFIRE, but only one can prevail here. But two deadly teams going head to head. I'm sure this one's going to be quite the intense match here.
Two teams with a whole lot of fragging power and a whole lot of great strategy coming into this matchup as well, but also some mistakes that were made over the course of the matchup that are definitely going to show up, unfortunately, in the case of this grand final as well. So they have to watch out for a few things, but in addition to that, it should just make for a grand spectacle as both these teams are on an incredibly even level.
They absolutely are. They both had a very good run through CFS 2018, through group stages in Taichung. Of course, the semis are now making their way to today's best of 5 grand final. So much up for grabs here. And the thing is, they don't have to face China. This is probably the biggest opportunity for both these teams, the biggest game of their lives, and their best opportunity to help us make history.
Yeah, the one thing holding both of these teams back in the past is now gone. There's everything on the line here, though, because both of these teams now have no excuses. They have everything to prove here. They have what they want in non-Chinese final, and now it's just going to come down to who has the better day here now.
Blue, we've talked about pressure all week long, both through the group stages, for mobile, for HD. Every time someone comes into the stage, we talk about how it's a pressure cooker situation. After an opening ceremony like that, after seeing your face on the ground in the LED screen, after coming up out of the stage in a giant LED covered booth, how much pressure must that be?
It's got to be quite a lot. If anything, it's going to be hyping these players up and make them incredibly excited for the matchup. So we're going to have to hope that everyone is at their best, as we should really be expecting a spectacle after the spectacle we just had behind us on the opener.
100%. Let's hope they embrace what they've seen and use it to give us their best shot here at CFS 2018 Grand Final. It's ruLegends up against Black Dragons, Russia up against Brazil. And well, I think they put it very nicely, Blue, when Black Dragons said, look, ruLegends knocked out INTZ. They knocked out our countrymen. We want to take them down.
Yeah, very much the case, and they already proved themselves as well back in the third place match. Unfortunately didn't manage to go the distance. We still saw the Chinese team come out at the top of the day, the third place match, but still made it an incredibly close affair. And now they're fighting for Brazil. They're fighting so Brazil can have a match that won today and take home the lion's share of the prize pool that's available here at CFS.
Let's have a chat about these two teams and how they got here. ruLegends. They started off pretty easily. Jakosab was in their group. And, well, that was a quick 10-0, a very easy way to start off the tournament.
Yeah, they came out of the gate very, very confident, great first showing, but after that, things did get a bit shaky for them. They struggled a bit to get out of their group, very, very close matches there, but I think they proved themselves when they went up against AG in that quarterfinal and just came out and showed us a brand new team there, and in the playoffs, they've looked really clean so far.
Yeah, that's it, right? They went up against All Gamers, the team who I thought was going to come out on top. They took them down 10-8. They didn't let it get through to the tiebreaker, something that we've seen has been a little bit perilous for teams across the week, and managed to make their way through to the grand final. Overall, a good run for ruLegends.
Yeah, definitely the case, and as you were mentioning, taking down AG, one of the strongest looking teams coming out of the group stage, was certainly nothing to scoff at. It was an amazing match that they were able to pull that off there, and then carried it through into the semifinal as well, where they were able to take out INTZ in a pretty definitive fashion, keeping it strong the entire way there. We saw at the beginning of the tournament there was a little bit of struggle with tilt, where they would kind of lose the momentum at the beginning of matches and unfortunately wouldn't be able to recover. I don't think they're having as much of an issue with that anymore, but again, that could still resurface. They're going to have to be very careful about that in the matches.
Black Dragons, on the other hand, they also went up against All Gamers, and they went down in their first match 5-10. Not a great start to them, but they managed to come back, and they now find themselves in the grand final.
Yeah, even with that loss, they feel more confident than ever. Taking down the reigning world champions just gives you such a boost to your momentum moving forward that I feel like it's still going to be quite the challenge to try and shut them down.
Yeah, they took on Ava Team, then Execration picking up wins. Then Q9, the team from China, took them down. And then another Chinese team, as you said, the reigning champion, Super Valiant Gaming, who picked up third place in the third place match a little bit earlier. And that was a close one as well, Blue. It just goes to show that this team is on point this week.
Very much the case, having to battle their way through with some of the toughest opponents and the top Chinese teams along the way as well. As you mentioned, Super Valiant was not an easy matchup whatsoever. That one really went the distance. And even against Q9, it really, really came down to the wire there. So these guys have come close to elimination a couple of times, and they have not fought all this way to the grand finals to fall now.
Kyle, do you feel like one of these teams has had an easier run to the final than the other, or do you think they've both been challenged quite significantly?
I think they've both had pretty large challenges. I mean, a lot of people thought ruLegends AG would be the end of the road. Up until that point, AG looked almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
But then to take them out in that quarterfinal was just a huge shock to everyone. But obviously, SV falling against Black Dragons was a huge and even greater upset in that semifinal. The best of threes, the Chinese teams almost never lose, but somehow the Black Dragons pulled it off.
Yeah, we kept talking about surely in a best of three, China will prevail, but it was not the case for neither Super Valiant nor All Gamers when we're talking about their semi-finals. We talk about a best of five though, Blue. That's a pretty big thing to consider here. All of the maps in the map pool are playable. If we go the whole way, we will play each and every map. And the thing is, this is not a format that most of these teams are used to playing. You don't get to the best of five until you get to the end.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So it's really going to test not only the map pools of each of these teams. You no longer have a comfort ban where you can get rid of a map that you're not going to feel super comfortable to play on in such a long series like this. You can't do that here. Not only that, but it's going to test these teams' perseverance and their ability to play out what could be an incredibly long series if we go the distance for 5 maps. You're looking at a potential 5 to 6 hour long series, and that's really going to test these players' endurance.
It's been a long week. Obviously, they've traveled overseas. Time zones will play a part. Neither of the teams, obviously, being from the Asian region, so that's going to have an impact. You'd like to think they've been here long enough now. They're starting to adapting, but you move across. We started in Taichung, a long bus ride over to Nanjing. They've watched CROSSFIRE all week long. It's starting to take its toll, and I'm just wondering how they're going to deal with this.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. 2 days of not playing, then you're in front of a crowd for the very first time for both of these teams in the entire event. It's a lot of pressure mounting on their shoulders here. And as we've seen in the past, both teams do struggle a bit under this pressure. So I'm interested to see who adapts first and who really comes to rise under this pressure.
Talking about rising to the occasion, I'm wondering which of the 2 teams, Blue, the Chinese supporters, will be in favor of. We've heard that Black Dragons actually do have a bit of a supporter base here in China.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how that plays out when we get into the actual match, who the teams will be cheering for there. But I think they'll be leaning a little bit more towards the Brazilians at the end of the day. But that could change. We'll have to see. It's a bit of a neutral crowd, obviously, now with the Chinese teams being knocked out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether they support the Brazilians, whether if they consider the teams that knocked out the teams that they like, who they're going to get behind, who they're going to cheer for. I'm always a bit of an underdog supporter, but in this situation, I feel like these 2 teams are quite evenly matched, that either of them could take home the trophy today, that either of them are capable of winning.
Yeah, really both teams have a lot of good strengths and weaknesses to present in this situation, and I think it's really going to come down to who's playing better today and who's able to adapt to what the other team throws at them here.
So, if we talk about ruLegends, who's excelled so far across the tournament? Is there anyone that we feel maybe needs to pick it up if they're going to take the win today?
I think the biggest thing I noticed from ruLegends was Treek started off very, very strong, but he's kind of fallen off a bit as the tournaments have gone on. I think it's really a situation for Treek. He needs to bounce back here and show us what he did in his first couple maps for his team. The rest of his team stepped up in the quarterfinals and in the semifinals to help close out, but he wasn't necessarily carrying those frags as we saw in the opening 2 matches from him.
What about Black Dragons? Obviously, Danimal started off slow and then picked themselves up. Who are we looking out here for, Blue?
Quite a few players, actually. Will, I think, was the one that we saw stepping up most recently. If we look towards the semifinals, he had a massive impact, especially when it came to clutch potential going into the match versus Super Valiant Gaming, and I think was a large part of why they were able to overcome them at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Will really seemed to step up when the pressure was on. We need those players. We talked about it all week long. In the pressure situation, when push comes to shove, when your team needs you, someone needs to stand up to carry you across the line.
Yeah, and it was a pretty big prize actually to see Will be that person in the opening matches. He wasn't a huge threat, but when it came down to when his team needed him most, he was the one stepping up and opening up things completely against SV.
Coming to this one, I think it's going to be a cracker. I'm hoping it goes all 5 maps. What do you think, Blue? Do you think we're going to see this go the whole way today?
We're going to have to see how the first couple of maps go. Right now, I'm feeling about 3 to 4 maps.
You're okay.
But I'm open to suggestion in terms of what the way the series will play out after we see the first map, because I think that these 2 teams are incredibly even, so I think it's very likely that we go to 5 maps.
I suppose the other thing to consider is the order in which the maps have played.
Yeah.
Are there maps you think, Kyle, that would suit one team more than another? Are there maps that if they come out first might help one team get momentum rolling?
Yeah, I think for ruLegends, more importantly, they have that sort of map pool that's a little bit sort of playing against them in some aspects, because they have 2 maps that they've been noticeably weak on and 2 maps they've been noticeably strong on. For me, looking at Mexico, that's a really, really strong map for ruLegends. They crushed AG on it, and they've looked clean on it throughout the entirety of this event so far. But if you look at their performance on a map like Subbase, they've been a bit shaky, and a map like Port, I believe they haven't even touched yet at this point.
Wow, that's actually quite a big deal, isn't it, Blue? To think about how these maps might play out, when the reality is, you know, they may have not played some of these maps across the entire tournament.
Yeah, certainly the case, but the thing you have to remember is, of course, coming into this, they still would have had to be prepared for the best of 5 finals, so they had to have kept that in their books regardless. It would be very strange to see teams just still keeping one of the maps, you know, just out of their mindset completely and using it as almost a throwaway map coming to the grand final. So we would have hoped that they would have had something prepared for it.
Well, they've had 2 days to do it, at a minimum, knowing that they're into this best of 5. As we take a look at the Black Dragons lineup, the team from Brazil. 2 Brazilian teams made it through to the top 4. A very impressive feat, to be sure. But can they take home the championship trophy today?
And right now, looking at this roster as well, I'd say, honestly, Notsen's going to be one of the key factors in deciding that. He was such a strong presence throughout the entirety of the event for Black Dragons. And I think if he doesn't continue that forward today into this grand final, they're going to have a rough go of it because him and Will are the ones opening up these sides time and time again. And if one of them isn't firing to their best, it's going to be a tough match.
Absolutely. Will, you were saying before he came out, he started slow, didn't he, earlier on in the tournament? He did seem to find his form when it mattered. The question is, has he peaked too early, or have we only seen the beginning?
I'm hoping we've only seen the beginning because, like I said, it's got clutch potential, and at the end of the day, that's a player that's going to win or lose maps for you. And if we see him show up once again, obviously that could start to swing things a little bit more into favor of the Brazilians and allow for them to get ahead with an early lead in some of these closer fought rounds, especially if his teammates are going to get off to a slower start.
What are your biggest considerations here for Black Dragons, Kyle?
I think Black Dragons, they're a team that needs to come out swinging here. ruLegends has shown us that if they lose their confidence early, they can fall off quite a bit. So Black Dragons, I think they need to be playing really aggressive and just try and sort of catch these guys off guard on ruLegends, and they could potentially steamroll an early lead here in this series.
Yeah, I think if we have a look as well, like ruLegends was the team who lost to Carbon early on also, and whilst Carbon had a good start, the difference is that Black Dragons, when they lost to a Chinese team, not a team from North America.
Yeah, I mean, the losses here for Black Dragons were definitely a bit more reasonable, I would say. ruLegends has shown quite a bit more fluctuation in how they performed. They've had a lot of moments that were pretty low for them in the event, but they've bounced back equally hard here. So I think for ruLegends, momentum is a key for them in winning this matchup.
Yeah, the highlight game definitely for ruLegends was that all-gamers matchup. The rest of them could have gone either way, I suspect. So, look, it's going to be a tough one for sure as we round out our Black Dragons lineup. Looking at them now, they look relatively calm, a lot calmer than I think I would be in the exact same situation. Smiles all around.
I think that they're feeling confident coming into this matchup. They know, as Kyle just mentioned, that ruLegends has lost to some possibly, less better teams than what we saw the Black Dragons go up against. And I think at the end of the day, they're feeling that that's going to allow them to push over them at the end of the day. Not only that as well, we talked about before about when the Russians get off to a pretty poor start, they tend to stay in that poor shape. They're not really good at recovering themselves in for the late match and potentially allowing them to have comebacks into some of these maps. So I think if they get off to a good start, they're going to feel that they're going to be able to absolutely crush them.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the thing that the Chinese teams have had, that when they do get to that best of 5, they almost always win because they've got that comeback potential, because they're strong across all of the maps, and because even when they're down, they somehow manage to find a way to come back.
Yeah, I mean, the Chinese teams are notorious for bouncing back here, but I think Black Dragons has done a great job of that as well. They're pretty resilient when it comes to taking these matches down to the wire, even in overtime situations. I think they may have a bit of an edge here just because ruLegends, when things get down to the wire, we've seen them fall and make a lot of small mistakes that could add up here, especially in a grand final.
Well, their opponents will be ruLegends, of course, coming from Russia. A very big deal for them as well to be here and be in this position. Obviously, they played in CFS a number of times, but never managed to get themselves so very close as they are right now.
Yeah, looking at their history, the team has made it to the best position of 4th place for them so far leading into this event. So already a historic moment for them, but still a chance to prove themselves and walk away with the win here in the grand finals. And looking at this roster, 5 deadly players across the board. But for me, the person I look to the most here is Stray, the newcomer. So much pressure for him. It's his first time in front of an audience at all here in an international environment. So I think he has a lot of pressure going into this finals.
How did he go through the week, through the group stages?
He was sort of hit and miss, I felt like. He had some really shining moments, but at their lows, he wasn't the one helping them step up and rise to the occasion here. It was really the veteran players like Drace and Vase we saw help carry them through.
What are we thinking when you look at this lineup for ruLegends? What are your thoughts, Blue?
As Kyle just mentioned, Vase is another one that I've got my eyes on as the more consistent fragging potential for this team. I think that we're going to be looking to him a lot to, especially when it comes to the attacking side, we're going to be looking to him to lead the charge for his team, pick up a lot of those entry kills, and most importantly, just try to keep himself alive, keep the rounds under control for his team. He's going to have to be the one to do that.
If it comes down to experience, who's got the better side? Is it the Brazilians or the Russians?
It's tough because against each other, I'd say they're equally experienced in this front, because against the Chinese teams, Black Dragons has so much more experience. But against each other, they play so often and have seen each other play so many years in a row here that I think it's going to come down to who has those nuances to throw into the mix and really catch the other team off guard.
I think that's a really good point that you make. We saw, of course, in the pre-finals interviews in between the opening ceremony and when we got started here on the desk, they said they scrimmed together a lot. Obviously, it kind of feels like the foreigners work together and the Chinese teams work together. So they actually do know each other relatively well. So that's definitely going to play a part here. They played against each other quite a number of times, even though they live on entirely different continents. And I'm sure they see themselves, see each other at a lot of events around the world year on year. But to see each other in a grand final now, see each other in a best of 5, to see each other playing for $500,000, it could be a little bit bittersweet, but also very, very happy at the same time.
Oh, definitely. This is the most on the line for both of these teams, and they know each other so well that they have to bring out these curveballs. Otherwise, it's just going to be the team who's consistently winning in scrims who comes out on top. And if you ask both of these teams, I'm sure they would say it's probably ruLegends online. They're the team to beat, but under this pressure, in this environment, Black Dragons has shown us a whole new team here. They have so much raw emotion in how they play that it could be a whole new monster for ruLegends to go up against here.
Blue, how very different is LAN compared to playing online, particularly if you're playing cross-server?
It's going to be way different. Obviously, if you're playing cross-server, you have to deal with the massive ping differential and server selection and all that messy stuff, of course, which is just going to give a massive one-sided advantages to either team. All that's gone in a LAN environment. You're playing on 0 ping. There's no room for any messy online stuff to get into the way. It's just you and the game.
All right, we're into our ban and pick, but of course, with 5 maps, all we're really looking at here is the order in which we will play. So the first map will be Mexico, going to come out on top. Looking to find our follow-up. Of course, we'll at least play the first 3 maps in the 5, and then it will obviously depend on how the match goes. Black Widow is the second one. Ankara is third. Subbase is going to be coming in. How are we feeling about this so far?
Honestly, when I look at this pick order, I think this plays hugely in favor to ruLegends here. Mexico, a map that they played consistently in this event and never lost on, and Black Widow, what they started off with a 10-0 win on, and online it's one of their best maps. And Anchor, it's me, is sort of the coin toss map, Subbase and Port, sort of favoring the Black Dragons. So I think Black Dragons really have to take this in the tail end of the series because ruLegends, these are starting maps they are very comfortable on.
That's a big call, but it seems to make sense to me, Kyle. Who's your winner going into this one?
After seeing the maps, I'm going to go 3-2 in favor of the guys on ruLegends here. I think they're going to take it. They have the comfortability on their side, which should help build the momentum they've been looking for in a series like this. So I'm going to have to give it to ruLegends here.
Blue?
I'm going to be agreeing the same thing. I'm going to be a little bit more definitive, though. I think it's going to be the first 2 maps going by the way of ruLegends, and I think with that momentum swing in their favor, they'll close it out on a 3rd one.
Wow, so 3-2 and 3-0 to RU from both Kyle and from Blue. For me, look, Black Dragons, they've had a pretty good run. I'm not just taking the devil advocate this time around. I think the Brazilian teams, it is their time. INTZ falls just 1 step short. But Black Dragons, I can't help but feel they're the ones ready and willing to take it across the line. No matter who wins, both these teams, both in terms of prize money and metaphorically are winners today. They've achieved something amazing for both their teams themselves and, of course, their countries, and should be very proud of what they've done. And now they're on the stage, and it comes down to potentially 5 big maps. It's going to be one cracker of a best of 5.
Definitely, and Mexico being the one to start it off on as well. I mean, a map that we haven't seen these guys on ruLegends sort of falter in just yet, but Black Dragons, another confident team on Mexico. This could go either way, but ruLegends has a super strong defense on here, and I think that defensive side could be a huge factor in determining who wins this matchup. Whoever starts there is going to have a boatload of confidence to move forward with.
Before we get into game finally, Blue, any last comments that you have about these 2 teams?
No, I think if for ruLegends, it's about staying composed. Don't let the frustrations of early lost rounds get to you at the beginning of the match. That's the one thing that I feel could help to throw this series in the other direction. And for the Black Dragons, they're just going to have to hope that they did enough prep on those opening maps, as the way that the map pool ends up working out does play pretty heavily into the favor of ruLegends.
Yeah, that's the real kicker, isn't it? The map pool, all 5 maps we talked about, potentially an opportunity to see them all come out this afternoon. But when you take into consideration the order in which they're played, that could definitely throw a spanner in the works for these 2 teams. The pressure, I think, is going to get to them. Hopefully, though, in a good way, they rise to the occasion. This is, I suspect, the biggest opportunity of their lives, their biggest game of their lives, and whatever the outcome, still going to come out on top.
Yeah, and even looking at the map pool, we said the first two may favor ruLegends, but keep in mind the pick order. Black Dragons had to have picked one of those two maps, so they have to feel comfortable enough to where they feel like they can win one of the opening two maps in this series here. And I think Mexico may have been their pick here, considering they were equally confident and comfortable on this map as well. And we saw how they were able to shut down teams like SV in these matchups.
For me, I think it's going to be whether they prepared something special. You surely have. They've had 48 hours since they knew what was going to happen. They've had all of Friday, all of Saturday. They haven't had to compete. They traveled a little bit, but time to strat on the bus, time to strat when they get back, and the last couple of days as well on the practice PCs. I wonder if they bring out something new, whether they fall back to something that they know in a pressure situation. It really does depend. Are you willing to risk it all on something that you may not know as well as your core strats, if it's an opportunity to make your opponents be a little bit surprised?
Yeah, and when I look at some of the things that INTZ used in the third place match, I'm wondering if they watched that and maybe got some ideas from that. We saw a lot of innovative things from INTZ, especially on port. They were utilizing a lot of boosts we don't normally see, and if these teams watch that, that could be some nice curveballs to throw into this matchup.
I think overall, looking at this matchup, it's going to be an incredibly close affair, considering the fact that Black Dragons were feeling confident enough to pick into maps that ruLegends also felt comfortable on. They think that they're going to be able to challenge them on some of the maps that they were able to just absolutely crush teams like Yakosab on early on in the group stage, and that has to say something going into this about the confidence of Black Dragons. They feel that they're a superior team so much so that they want to go to some of the best picks for ruLegends and try to take them down there early so that they can try to crush them early on in this series.
Yeah, that's a very big point here. For some reason, they have an idea, they think they know something, and we're going to have to wait to find out what it is until they play. But if Mexico is their pick, who knows what they got in store?
Yeah, it could be a situation where they have enough nuances to bring to the table. They think they can crush the confidence early for ruLegends and maybe just steamroll the series by just sort of stealing the momentum in their hands and running with it here. And ruLegends, they don't really know how to lose on Mexico yet, and it's going to be interesting to see if they are forced with their backs against the wall, how they may adapt here.
If you're just joining us, this is the CFS 2018 CROSSFIRE Grand Finals. ruLegends from Russia up against Black Dragons from Brazil. Our first ever grand final here at CFS with no Chinese teams playing. An opportunity for one of these teams to lock themselves in as champions and make history. We'll be playing Mexico, Black Widow, Ankara, Subbase, and then if we're lucky, if it goes all the way, we'll also be playing Port. Both these teams have taken down some of the best teams in the world to be here. ruLegends took down All Gamers in their quarterfinal 10-8. All Gamers, a team that we thought would be the team to beat this week. Black Dragons took down Super Valiant Gaming in a semi-final. Super Valiant Gaming were the back-to-back champions, 2016 and 2017. Both of our semi-finals went to all three maps. Both were so very, very close. And this grand final could have been very, very different if just one round had gone a different way.
It really could have. I mean, we had so many #1 seeds fall so quickly in our playoff stages that it just completely caught everyone off guard and gave us a very sort of weird, unexpected outcome here out of all of this. We had 2 Brazilians making it through to the top 4, something that's never happened before. And on top of that, the best placing Chinese team being SV with a 3rd place finish. Not something anyone would have expected when you looked at the teams in this event, but still, somehow these two teams clawed their way here. So they've rightfully earned this spot to fight against each other, but still the pressure high here with this intense final between these two teams who haven't had any exposure to an audience just yet in this event, but both teams with a good history here of playing in front of audiences, except for Stray, really the only player with no history there.
Yeah, Stray certainly going to be looking to get off to a banging start in his career if he's going to be able to make his way through into this grand final and come out on top of first place. That'll certainly be a Rookie of the Year story, to be certain, and it's going to be interesting to see if that ends up playing out into his favor. I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to keep up with the performance, though, considering the pressure it's not going to be on with this massive arena. It's like 10,000 seats or something like that. I don't know how many we have in attendance, of course, but it's just a lot of eyes looking at you, and for young players, they may not be ready for that kind of attention just yet.
Yeah, wouldn't that be an incredible start, coming in your first season, going through to CFS 2018 and coming out as champion already is an crazy achievement to lock in at least 2nd place. But now best of 5 stands between them and glory here today. Starts snowing outside here in Nanjing, gents, and whilst it's cold outside, it's very, very warm in here. The pressure, you can feel it. And that'll be a nice little surprise. Maybe not for the Russians. They're probably used to the snow, but the Brazilians might enjoy that. A great way to celebrate perhaps a win here today.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, they're going to be going in here, like we said before, they've got that sort of confidence behind them and sort of the redemption of INTZ as well, sort of weighing on their shoulders here. We'll see if they have enough to pull through, but right now, maybe some technical issues to get resolved before we hop in here, but both teams still looking pretty confident here, smiles on their faces, nobody looking too nervous, surprisingly so just yet.
Yeah, way more relaxed than I think they're even entitled to look blue.
Yeah, I think for the Black Dragons, they're really just happy to be here. They're happy to be on stage. They're enjoying the spectacle of everything, right? And I kind of like that going into this match. They're not trying to let the match itself distract them too much. They're focusing on really the craziness that's happening around them at this point, and trying to focus on that, the fun that they're having here on stage. And I think if they take that into the game, obviously they're going to be a lot more relaxed, a lot more cool and composed to go into such a competitive matchup here, where normally players, they focus a little bit too hard, they could shake, they could completely collapse under the pressure.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. There are so many things in your life that you do, big moments that, can change your life, can be a highlight of a year, a highlight of a decade, a highlight of your entire life, that for whatever reason you're nervous or it's a big moment, and it's hard to take it all in, and by the end of it you look back and like, wow, that just went by. So perhaps they're taking an opportunity to embrace this, to take it all in, to enjoy the moment, to remember it, and at the end of the day, if they can come out and enjoy themselves whilst playing some really good Crossfire, that may give them an advantage here.
And may so, but on the other token, you have to look at, I mean, if you let it slip too fast, that's $300,000 difference between first and second place. First place can walk away with $500,000, and with that much money on the line, you can't afford to make simple mistakes here. You've got to keep that confidence high. You've got to keep that composure, even in front of a huge audience here. The pressure's high, and one small mistake could cost you $300,000 difference in your prize finish.
Of course, that's going to be only adding to the pressure that these players will face. But like I said before, I think the Brazilians have taken that in stride. They've decided to focus on the spectacle in front of them, all of the arena, instead of just the matchup. And I imagine that once they get into the server, once they get into the game, that's all going to be going away. And it's going to be all focused on the game, focused on winning and trying to close out this series as quickly as possible. To just make sure that ruLegends have the weakest performance possible. Because if they get the ball rolling early, they are truly going to be a force to be reckoned with, a force that, I don't know if the Black Dragons will be able to take down.
Yeah, I think that one of the most interesting things about the two teams that we see here in our grand final is that neither of these teams were the top seed in their group. ruLegends played in Group B and they came in second seed. Obviously, they lost the upper bracket final to Carbon, dropped down and had to qualify back through the lower bracket. And then Black Dragons had all gamers in their group and they lost their first matchup, as we said, dropped them down. So the two teams coming through weren't the two teams who came through in first seed. The other funny things we take a look is there's obviously no one from Group A represented here in Nanjing. Both Q9 and Flipside unable to make it through into either the third, fourth, or the grand final. And Group D had both Super Valiant and INTZ play in the third, fourth place match.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the overall bracket, we just got to see what teams did when the pressure was really on and they had to adapt. I think teams like AG never learned how to lose properly, so they didn't have anything they could really take away and move forward with. And at the end of the day, it kind of cost them. They went in too confident and they just sort of threw away the opportunity, whereas these teams that did take early losses, you can tell they learned a lot from them. They rethought their strategies and they came back even stronger than they did before.
Yeah, I think the quarterfinals were a pretty big part of this as well. Losing a best of one, not having an opportunity to come back within just that one map.
Yeah, that really turned into kind of the culling ground for a lot of our teams, unfortunately, especially some of the European ones who had decent starts for the most part across the tournament, but just seemed to really falter as we got towards the very end of the groups and into those quarterfinals. They were looking promising. It was looking like we might have even been able to see one of those two teams move on to the semifinals, but at the end of the day, they just ended up getting crushed at the end of their groups and in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Q9, what we were talking about, third place Chinese team who did play Black Dragons in their quarterfinal, went down 10-5. So Black Dragons really did come out firing in that match, and that's when they needed to. Those best of ones, an opportunity to push on through perhaps when they may not have otherwise. And look, they really showed us that if they had a best of one, if they needed to start on fire, they could.
Yeah, I think it came down to Q9. They only had one game in the group stage they actually played to get through, and they didn't really have the time to get warmed up. They went in sort of a little bit cold in their quarterfinal, and I think it came back to haunt them there.
And then ruLegends took on All Gamers. A game, to be fair, it didn't feel like they should be capable of winning. The top Chinese team looking to go through, looking potentially to take down Super Valiant in the final, and end their streak, but they managed to pick it up 10-8, something that was an epic achievement.
Yeah, very much the case, and you have to remember just how strong All Gamers looked like up to that point. No one could stop them. They had an incredibly consistent performance across the board. Very few mistakes were being made on things like executes, and just made it all the more impressive that ruLegends were able to take them down.
Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen, our CFS 2018 CROSSFIRE Grand Final. ruLegends up against Black Dragons, and we are going to start this best of 5 in Mexico.
So we go to Mexico now to open up the battle in the grand finals of CFS 2018, and we're going to get right into it. Trades between Black Dragons and RUL will be going off in mid to start things off. It's going to be Danimal and ADRF finding opening impact with only 1 kill traded against them to knock out ADRF.
Great way to get things started here for Black Dragons, coming out guns blazing, as we hoped they might here, to try and steamroll their way into some early rounds on the board. ruLegends, though, starting off on that favorable defensive side of the map here. Executor, though, already running into trouble here on the A-bomb side. Has to be careful. He's shut down immediately. Danimal finds another. It's all on Vase. A 1v4. Danimal going to be taken down, but still 3 more players standing in the way of Vase here. Has to get the ace clutch on top of it all to make it happen. Finds himself a second one. Vase, could he possibly do this to open up the grand final here? 1v2, but it's not going to happen. It's shut down. Nice play there from Vienna to make it happen, and the Black Dragons, they will find the first round thanks to some nice aggression there in mid.
Really just starting it off with a direct push into mid, as you had mentioned. Not going to be hitting the ground with a slow styled execute that we've been seeing from a lot of our other teams throughout the course of the tournament. That's good. That's the pace we need to see being set on a map like Mexico, where we've often seen the attacking teams on Blacklist struggle with their capability to start off well. It's going to be a little bit different this time, though. A 2-for-2 trade now as ADRF picks up the double kill, and now a third being found by the Black Dragons again. Another one found, in fact, by ADRF. He's single-handedly dominating this round, bringing it all down to Vase for ruLegends.
Unfortunate circumstances indeed for ruLegends, but Black Dragons looking very confident to start off this grand final. 2-0 after a great round there from ADRF, leading the charge on the scoreboards for his team so far. And this is exactly what you have to do against ruLegends. They feel so comfortable on this side of the map, but not so far as Black Dragons. They're showing that raw aggression we had hoped they would.
So for the Black Dragons hitting the ground running to start off this series, they've certainly shown up with a whole lot of firepower that ruLegends is going to have to respect now. Thankfully for them, Black Dragons has finally decided to slow things down a little bit. They're going to take their route over into water to start off the 3rd round on the map. It's going to be a bit more of a slow broiling one this time. You've got Trace sitting on the outside of it, waiting for the push to work its way out for the Black Dragons. But mind you, plenty of time remaining in the round, so we could still see this path reversed. Vienna, I believe, will take point in peeking this to make sure there is no position being taken up by anyone on RUL. For the most part, he won't spot that unless Drace decides to swing out wide to peek for intel. They're aware that there probably is going to be someone behind that box, so they wait to posture up for the fight. Drace waits behind it, but no! It goes to Vienna. The second peek comes out from another member of RUL, and they're unable to hold as well. Will gets the double as well. Great transfer onto the second, and it's left it all on Executor. A 1v5 is set against him, and he can't do it. 4 members still surviving at the end of the round for Black Dragons.
This is not the best of starts here for ruLegends. A lot of struggle here on their defensive side of the map, but Black Dragons doing exactly what they need to here. Not afraid to take control of this map right into their hands. And ruLegends still yet to answer it here. We're going to see what they have in store for us, though. An early fight in mid. Black Dragons, though, forced back, but look at Vase here, drops into alley. Not going to matter, though. ADRF picks up 2. Danimal finds another Drace, finally with the trade, but it's not going to be enough. Treek already alone in a 1v4. Things headed south once again for the ruLegends squad. Treek able to find one, though. Still a 1v3 situation in front of him. The bomb in the hands of Vienna here. Treek looking to try and find another aim duel to go his way, but this time it's not going to happen. And Black Dragons have a huge start now, 4-0.
Black Dragons hitting the ground running, to say the least, at the beginning of this first map of the series, and absolutely destroying ruLegends at every single gunfight. If they don't pick it up soon, this could be a very, very quick first map to start off this best of 5, and that is not what ruLegends wanted to have happen, especially considering that we expected this one to be a relatively strong map being postured up by ruLegends, but they just cannot seem to connect onto a single kill. Black Dragons aren't even giving them any room to breathe. They're not even giving them any room to figure out what exactly is going wrong. They're just piercing the site so quickly on every single round. It's making for some very, very quickly traded affairs.
And this may be why they decided to pick this map here against ruLegends. They know if they can get the confidence here to start it off on a map where ruLegends feels a bit too comfortable, they could come out on top in this series here. And right now, they are looking like the team to beat in this one. Black Dragons, they're going to be working their way already onto this A bomb site. Right now, ruLegends not really sure of the positioning here. Black Dragons, though, throwing a lot of mid utility to try and get control here, but they still haven't pushed in just yet. They do want to be careful, though. Drace playing very aggressive on the side of mid.
For the rest of Black Dragons, like I said, it's a bit more of a slow broiling round here now that kind of used all of their aggression in the first couple of rounds. However, that does not mean that their execute itself can't be another fast-paced play style from the Black Dragons. So we are going to look to see smokes going out into mid to allow them access. They'll cut off access towards the A site, and I'll take the battle at mid. It's an evenly traded battle this time around, though. ADRF along with Stray, both finding impact for either team and bringing us into a 4 versus 4. Good counter flashes coming in now for the Black Dragons as ADRF picks up another double and brings it down to just Executor. Now minus his other teammate. In fact, it's just Executor left alive now in a 1v4 situation. He's been found by ADRF, and a quick switch to the pistol will finish off the round for him.
ADRF coming to life in this grand final so far. 11-0, I believe. This is KD. Just a remarkable way to start this one off for the Black Dragons. ruLegends, though, still 0 answers on their side of the map, losing what should be the easier half of this situation, but not today. Black Dragons know this grand final is of the utmost importance to them. They don't want to give this one up easily at all. ruLegends, though, still looking to put a first round on the board here and get the ball rolling on their side of the map. Right now, though, Black Dragons making that exceedingly difficult here. Every player bringing their A game.
So for ruLegends, a nice early nade actually does some pretty decent damage, knocking about 50 or 60 damage total off of 3 different players. The hardest one getting hit right down to below half now as he's taking additional damage from another fight that he's taken. That's Will, gone down to about 30 HP. After they face trouble at the mid lead up, Black Dragons will be falling back over towards water and will instead play their aggression from out here. Last time they did this, they absolutely destroyed the setup once again. It's a crossfire this time from ruLegends. They're ready to put a stop to this. Are they going to be able to hold off against the raw firepower that we've been seeing from the Black Dragons on a lot of these opening rounds that ruLegends just constantly seem to be unready for?
Looks like we are going to see a full rotation coming out from the Black Dragons, who look to take this one over towards the A-bomb site. We'll see if they decide to go in for the full execution. Only a minute left to make this one happen, though. They need to be careful. Mid control, though, has been given up to them. ruLegends playing a much more reserved play style than we're used to seeing from them. No mid control here today. Will going to try and lead his way in once again for the Black Dragons. ADRF as well, though. A strong player for this team so far on the half. Here comes the nades, though, over the top. They're going to be going into the B-bomb side here. Treek has to try and hold down the initial picks. Right now, though, things working out in their favor, but Treek goes down very easily. ADRF, again, he opens it up. Will takes down yet another. Stray and Executor already the last 2 alive, but they're not going to spot Will. Playing from the quad box as Executor goes down in the trade fire as well. And just like that, we could see one heck of a first map coming out from the Black Dragons here.
Black Dragons are showing such crazy aggression right now in this opening half for them, just constantly leaping onto the site as a full 5-man unit. We haven't had to see a single split execute from them yet, as their utility is just completely blinding and leaving RUL dumbfounded every time they go for an execute. It's impressive to be sure. Black Dragons seem to have saved this for the grand finals, and it is working brilliantly, and they're going to adapt once again. They'll take their path down the alleyway this time, checking everything along the way. They've already reached the lead up to the A site, and they're ready to pierce out. This one might be a little bit more difficult than the others, though. It's a pretty rough choke point. So if ruLegends, and specifically Executor, is ready for it, they could shut this down. But no! Again, it's ADRF and Danimal who gets a double kill, working together to absolutely destroy the defensive setup. Treek's been able to trade out 1 kill, but it's a small gesture, as now Vienna moves in to cut off anyone else that might have been left straggling on the site. It's down to Treek in a 1v4.
And And right now you wouldn't think they are playing the more difficult side of the map here, but they're just making it look so easy here in the grand finals. Black Dragons having no trouble at all taking these sites one after another here, 7-0. Just 3 rounds away already from taking this first map. ruLegends still with no answers here. They have to find a way back into this quickly, otherwise map 1 could just be already said and done.
Quick grenade fire coming out in mid. Unfortunately, missing both teams outright. What we do see, though, is Vienna finding a very impactful AWM pick against Treek, and that's going to swing their mid push wide open if they want to try to go down through water and pinch one of the sites while using mid as a support route for them. Regardless, though, we're not going to see that just yet. Most of Black Dragons will fall back. They'll play into that mid approach that we've been seeing a lot of other players stack up on. ruLegends are trying to put some of their own aggression into the alleyway here. Most notably, they're trying to boost Executor up, but it's not working out. He'll fall away. Stray's going to follow suit as well. And they'll play 2 on the A site, 1 in mid, and 1 a little bit closer towards B.
And right now, they are in desperation mode here on ruLegends to put this round up on the board. Already, though, at a 5-on-4 disadvantage here, trying to lock down these sites. They're playing 2 and 2, very, very passive here, just trying to make something out of nothing, seemingly so. ADRF, though, still a dominating performance in this half so far, going to be playing on top of the quad boxes. And right now, Black Dragons, they're just going to hold on to this mid position and hope that ruLegends makes the mistake of taking a risk here and peeking out. Right now, though, Danimal going to throw the nades down to try and work their way in towards this A bomb site execution here. Danimal looking to lead the charge here for his team. Stray peeks out a little bit too wide. The catch of the gun barrel, but Executor picks up the triple kill. Shut down, though, by Danimal. Evens things up to a 2v2. ruLegends, though, now with an opportunity, thanks to the play there from Executor, Vase, and Drace. We've seen them clutch quite a few rounds before in the past, but right now they surely are in need of it here. The bomb going to be downed here, but Vienna looking for a fight. Vase trying to sneak around from behind, though, could catch him off guard. Going to see if he can find someone in the backside of mid, but right now, more than ever, ruLegends, they need to hold on here.
C4 is still on the ground as well. They need to move in for a retrieve on that, but no, Vienna's found one of the picks. It's down to Vase now, and Vienna's got the spot. They are looking to try and control the C4 still, as Vase looks to lock down Vienna, preventing a plant, but he will conclude that kill by knocking out Vienna, bringing it down to just a 1v1. Vase is going to look to try and delay, but never mind on that. Goes right out, shutting down, finally, this incredibly aggressive attacking side that we've been seeing from our Brazilian roster.
Still with 7 rounds on the board, surely you would think that Black Dragons has the capability to close out this map in their favor. It's such a defensive-sided map, and only 1 round will not cut it here. They need to find at least 2 and start off the second half with even more explosive plays if ruLegends want any hope to get themselves back into this one quickly. Right now, though, Black Dragons still only 3 away from map number 1 in this grand final, going their way. Still things looking good for them. But ruLegends, they're going to be playing passive once again. No mid control in their hands. They're just going to be hoping for the passive play to work out again.
Black Dragons finally slowing their pace down and playing a much more spread out game once again here as well. We'll see if they group and go for another one of those barnstorming executes to get them onto one of the 2 sites. But for now, they've had to slow it down. Finally, they've been stopped, and they owe most of that last round to Executor, along with the clutch that came in from Vase. They try to get aggressive, though. Maybe a little bit too much of it too soon, and will, along with Knotson, run over the defensive setup here on the A site. It's down to really 1 on the outside that might be able to stop this. It doesn't happen, and we see Black Dragons go right back into dominating form after just a little bit of a bump in the road to close out the half.
And right now, ruLegends, you can see they're very disappointed with how that half played out, and rightfully so. They haven't had any issues on this map leading up to this one, but right now, the Black Dragons, they may have picked wisely here. An 8-1 half, potentially a 10-1 map if they close it out with the 2 opening rounds. Now going into their defensive half, seemingly looking almost unstoppable here in the grand finals so far.
We'll see if they can be stopped. We saw a little shimmer of light towards the end of the half for the Russians, but it might be just too little too late considering the amazing performance that we saw from the Black Dragons, an incredibly aggressive performance as well. That's what I think we finally needed to see on Mexico, to finally see a very, very blacklist-sided half come out, which we have not really had yet throughout the course of this entire tournament. For Black Dragons, though, they are going to have to hold against a very similar type of push coming in from ruLegends. They tried the same exact thing. They tried barnstorming their way into mid. It's actually worked out okay, though. The trade's going all over the place, but at the end of the day, it leaves only 1 man standing on the Black Dragons. Vienna in a 1v3. We'll look to try and close out and keep BD in control.
ruLegends looking for this opening round here to try and claw back, and they will find it there. Treek grabbing the final kill of the round. And still, there is just a glimpse of hope left for these guys on the side of ruLegends here in map number 1. But as we have seen in the past, the Global Risk side, once things start to stabilize on this map, has so much control that ruLegends need nothing but perfection moving forward.
So for ruLegends, a good start indeed, and that's what they needed, a momentum swing to shut down what's been a very, very Black Dragon-sided map so far here. Certainly a good start to Animal as well, bringing out the shotgun as well. And we're going to see if it'll work. It doesn't find much impact, but hey, it works as covering fire for ADRF, and that's what they need. Vienna will pick up a trade after Drace is able to take down one of his own. Vienna will get a second as well, but he will be caught out by Treek, leaving it into a 1v3 for him, and it won't stay that way for long. The Black Dragons continue to pounce, and they are now just one more round away from being able to shut down this first map.
What a game here from ADRF so far. He's got to be close to 20 frags already in this match in total. He's just been completely shutting down everything that ruLegends throws his way, and this could be it here already. Danimal finds the opener. Notson, though, accidentally nades himself down to half HP. Executor finds the double kill, but the trades still go in favor of the Black Dragons here. 2-on-1 now. Executor, the last hope already this map, slipping through their fingertips here, unless somehow Executor finds the clutch. Notson and Vienna, though, trying to close in on his position. They find it. Already said and done. Map number 1, 10-2 in favor of ruLegends. And this is looking like a grand final that could be theirs for the taking now.
Absolutely, and one of the fastest maps I think we've had over the entire tournament. The only one that could even contend with it would have been that 10-0 that we saw ruLegends pull off. But now they've had that fast map thrown in their face. They've had an incredibly aggressive play style thrown at them. And wow, what a way to start off the grand finals for the Black Dragons.
What an absolutely an amazing start. The question I want to ask, Lou, it's ruLegends, but are you even here? Where are you? It's like 10-2. Have they even turned up? Have they woken up?
They're losing a lot of gunfights. That's what's happening.
Big surprise.
At the end of the day, right, it's just Black Dragons coming out of the gate swinging. They jumped directly into the fray at mid, which was often a hotly contested area that we weren't seeing teams execute upon until 1 minute or less on the clock in a lot of our previous maps that have been played on Mexico. The guys on Black Dragons throw that philosophy out the window and just barnstorm in to mid on almost every single round. If it's not mid, it's through water, it's through the alleyway. They're trying every single angle they can, and unfortunately, ruLegends just didn't expect it to happen so consistently. Every time it happened, they continued to lose the gunfights.
Kyle, we spoke about maybe there was going to be a strat here if it was their pick, if that's what was coming through. Is that what we saw? Was it a different play style to groups?
Yeah, definitely it was. They came out with so much raw aggression, and you can really tell they want to steamroll their way into winning this grand final, and that's the perfect way to catch a team like ruLegends off guard and really put them in a bad headspace to start off this match. And I think they've done a great job of it. 10-2 on a map where ruLegends was surely confident they would win, and now going into another comfortable map for them, ruLegends may be second-guessing themselves here.
Yeah, it's definitely very tough for the ruLegends team. You can see it on their faces. They got further and further in. Even when they won that first round, Blue, there was no look of happiness. It was still that they essentially accepted defeat in the first map.
Yeah, it seemed like it was the case. I mean, it was really only Executor as well that was able to piece together that triple kill that really allowed for them to close out. We even had to see another player step up just to clutch that round to begin with. So it wasn't necessarily the team coming together to win the 1 or 2 rounds they did manage to put up onto the board. It was really just 1 or 2 individuals that stepped up to the plate. Finally, after such a long drawn out streak that we had from the Black Dragons as well, we finally saw someone stepping up to the plate. But that's not enough. You need the entire team to show up to the table. We just didn't see that.
Well, I almost want to put that one behind us. Perhaps it's an anomaly. Perhaps Black Dragons have actually turned up and are in incredible form. Our next map will be Black Widow. We spoke about this, a map that both teams should be very, very familiar with. My question is now, are we going to see this going straight into game? Because if it is, there's been very little time for a team like ruLegends to bring this back. I think you need more than even the type of break that you could get if we went to a proper break, right? You need like half an hour to calm down sometimes.
Yeah, they really need to completely mentally reset after that one, because that was just a completely devastating performance coming out from Black Dragons. They just ran all over them. I mean, ADRF, that's one of the best games he's had in this entire tournament. If he alone keeps that up, this could be one heck of a grand final for him.
We're going to go to a quick break, give these guys a bit of a time to calm down and see how they come back for map number 2, which will be Black Widow. We'll see you soon.